This is episode 89 of the Cafe Racer podcast for March 6th, 2016. I'm Crash.
And I'm Steven.
Hey, man. So for those few people that actually watch the show, you've got like a motorcycle helmet on, and I see trees and stuff going by in the background. What's up?
Dude, I'm riding a bike. I am.
You sound great.
Yeah, I am on the big KTM, and I might be a little bit lost right now because I pulled off of I-75 to turn around. There was no signal, but no, it's cool. This thing's working really good. So I'm on a Sena Bluetooth 20S linked to the iPhone, and we're live on Google Hangout.
Yeah, I can see all the different little devices attached to your helmet there.
Yeah, I got the camera, the Prism camera, which now that I understand how to use it, it's really kind of cool. And I was mistaken. You know, you and I were kind of under the impression that while you were recording, you could record background music. That only works on the 10C because it's part of the comm system.
Oh.
On the 20S, the Prism takes the spot of like an intercom, so it's got priority over music. But the cool thing about it is you can pause it and actually put it to sleep right from the headset. And
I really like that feature. Like, that's really cool.
And then when you pause it and put it in sleep mode, the music comes back on. You don't even have to restart it. So if you're listening to music, you wake up the camera and you start shooting, the music pauses. And I think it'll record conversations when you're talking to somebody, but it'll record your conversation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty neat. The thing works really well. But so I'm at a rally. I don't know. I think I kind of like been posting some pictures on Instagram, but there's a group in North Florida called CADS, which is a classic adventure and dual sport. And the Polar Bear rally that I went to about a month ago, it was sponsored by these guys.
Yeah.
If you remember, I did the street route for that. So I was determined to do some dirt on this so-called adventure bike, you know?
It sounds like you did some dirt.
I did some dirt. I got some TKC 80s on this thing. Yesterday we went from St. Augustine, Florida, which is on the East Coast, to Steinhatchee, which is on the West Coast, pretty much all off-road with a roll chart. And it was a lot of sand, which was really a lot of work. You know, I'm not used to riding in sand, and I don't really know. Well, I mean, I was given instruction on how to do it, but I don't have the confidence level yet to run the bike at like 40 miles an hour in heavy sugar sand.
Right.
So I was going like 20, and then there were some areas where I was kind of like duck paddling it through at 10 miles an hour. And, you know, it was a lot of work. There was a guy that was riding with me, guy John, on a GS with his girl on the back, and they had a couple slow tip overs because the front wheel would just like dig in, the bike would fall over.
Yeah.
And it was getting a little much for them. I think he kind of hurt his knee. So at one part we stopped for lunch, and they broke off to head back, and I was going to try to pick up the route again on the roll chart, but I just couldn't find it. I kind of got lost. And then when I finally realized where I was past points where I could get points, you know, taking pictures. So I made it back to Steinhatchee, kind of relaxed, had dinner, and this morning we loaded up a new roll chart. And, man, I got to tell you, well, the funny thing was yesterday I shared a room with a guy out of Gainesville who was on a KTM 990 Adventure.
Yeah.
And how's the wind noise? Is it okay? Because I'm getting ready to get on the interstate.
There's none. I mean, it is. I can't tell you're on a motorcycle. It just sounds like you're on the phone, basically.
All right, cool. So we took off in the morning from the lighthouse in St. Augustine, and already like the roll chart either was wrong or I was misreading it. So we passed the cemetery where we had to take a picture, and these guys were trying to make a U-turn, and one of the guys dumped his 1190 KTM by hitting the curb. So I kind of they were all helping him up. I kind of rode around him to go get the picture of the cemetery, and I'm sitting there waiting for the guys, and the whole group never showed up. So I doubled back around to find them, and they're long gone. like an hour I rode by myself, and get into this heavy dirt, you know, and sand, and I never really did catch up with those guys until they got back to the hotel last night. Well, this morning I hooked up with them to ride about half of the route. Then I had to split. And I'll tell you what, Chris, we ran in some areas that there was no sand. It was all dirt and some single track, some double track. But we did some pretty deep water crossings pretty
Nice.
fast. Like the guy that I was with, Sean Murphy, is a buddy of mine down south. He's pretty experienced off-road rider. He's like, just go. And I watched the guy in front of me, and he kind of gassed it, stood up, the bike, you know, motored right through. So we did about 4 or 5 water crossings that were a lot of fun. I was hauling ass on this thing, probably doing 45, 50 in second gear.
Nope, lost Steve for a little bit. Probably lost
Still there?
service.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
am I still
got
there?
you back. Yeah.
No, actually, I got a phone call. But
Oh.
yeah, it was kind of cool. It was a lot of fun.
That sounds like it. So, real quick, you mentioned water crossings, and this is not motorcycle related. A little over a week ago, Jess and I got married, and we were
Congratulations.
thanks. So our honeymoon is up near Big Bear, and there's a bunch of off-road truck trails up there. And just for the hell of it, we went out on one last Sunday, and there was a they had mentioned when I read like the description of the trail that there's a water crossing, and I imagine that at sometimes during the year it's pretty high. I mean, I saw some pictures of, you know, vehicles where it was, you know, up above the wheels and stuff like that. It was maybe an inch deep. So like we pull up, you know, over this little crest, and there's this water crossing. I was like, oh, here's our big water crossing. It's an inch, maybe. But and then there was a couple of like mud puddles later on in the trail that I like made a point to hit really hard so that it got all over my truck. I was like, oh, I figure it might as well make it look like we did something.
Right.
It was a lot of fun though. So for some reason, Jess was getting motion sickness pretty bad on the drive up there, which, you know, the roads are real curvy, and she doesn't get motion sickness on the bike, but she does in the car sometimes. Well, she was getting motion sickness pretty bad, so she took Dramamine before we did the truck trail. And she was like, I don't know which is worse, you know, because the motion sickness goes away immediately after you stop. But the Dramamine drunk feeling just lingers for like an hour or two afterwards.
Dramamine is pretty nasty, actually. I can't take it. It makes me sick to my stomach. So by the way, I was just on 75 doing about 85 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, we never would have known.
This thing is great.
Yeah. So you got to go, you know, take the KTM out in some dirt. I took the truck out in some dirt and left my bike in the shop while I was gone.
Yeah. How'd you feel about that?
Weird. So it's the first time that the Bonneville has ever been in the shop, and I've had it since 2009. Mm-hmm. And it was strange. Like I live in an apartment now, so, you know, I don't have the facilities to work on it that I used to. And it was doing some stuff like the gas mileage was down about 10 miles per gallon. It has like a wobble, and like there are some other little things that were, you know, kind of making me wonder, you know, what was going on. And plus, you know, it was probably about time to change the oil and stuff like that. So I took it to this local place, and it's South Bay Motorsport. They're one of the local like big dealers. They sell Triumph, Ducati, KTM. Like they had a Super Adventure, I think, in there. And then they also sell all the big Japanese ones. So like they've got, you know, they're like, they sell pretty much everything in there. They got Polaris, like side-by-sides and stuff. Like they don't have Victory motorcycles, but they sell like Polaris side-by-sides, all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I took her to these guys because they're the closest to me, and they sell and they do Triumph. So, yeah, well, I figured I might as well. And man, it was like $600. It sucked. Like
What was the total of what they did? They did a valve adjustment?
So they did a valve adjustment, and they did actually adjust some of the valves. It wasn't just a check. They did a valve adjustment. They inspected the whole bike. They fixed a turn signal that wasn't working. It wasn't just a light bulb. It was something else that I hadn't bothered to dig into. It was probably something super simple, like a freaking connector was bad. But anyway, they fixed the turn signal. They investigated the wobble, ended up not really finding anything. Cleaned and lubed the chain, you know, and then they, I don't know if I said change the oil, but they changed the oil, and like, you know, checked and adjusted everything, like the brakes, and refilled all the fluids and all that sort of stuff. It just
hold on,
yeah.
All right, dumbass me plugged in my headset and it completely disconnected the Cena. But
Yeah,
you know, the thing about going to the dealer is there is a little bit of peace of mind, I guess, once in a while, especially when you have stuff going on that you're not really sure what it is.
yeah.
So,
I mean, it's nice to have the bike back. I haven't ridden it yet, but you know, like it was like I can either try to find some spot to go like work on this myself and maybe not feel that confident, or
right.
I mean, but there's no way I can't do the valve check anywhere. You know, unless I like ask somebody, hey, can I borrow your garage for a little bit? And then I'd have to find all my tools, which some are in storage and some are here, and I just couldn't. It didn't make any sense to do it that way. So I called up the place. I was like, hey, can I bring it by? I'm going out of town. I'll just leave it with you guys. And
What about going to like Cerebus, you know, places like that? Do you have one of those in San Diego?
Yeah, that's actually down here in San Diego. Yeah. But the last time I checked, it was kind of cost prohibitive to me. You have to be a member in order to really like take advantage of anything. And the last time I talked to Dave about it, becoming a member was expensive enough that I couldn't justify it at the time because I had a garage. You know, you get to use his tools and some of his equipment to be a member, which is nice. But I was like, well, I've got a garage. I can work on the bike kind of whenever I want. I don't have to have the bike, you know, stored somewhere miles away from where I live in order to work on it. So it didn't really make sense to me at the time.
That model, I just don't understand that. You know, having to like pay a monthly fee for something.
Yeah.
When that doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you're only going to use it every once in a while.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to just like, even if it was $50 or $60 an hour, I'd love to be able to go in and just pay by the hour to put the bike up on a stand and do whatever I needed to do. You know, like I'd pay Dave or anybody else $60 to go put my bike up on a stand and do the work I had to do, and then go and then leave when I was done.
Right. You know, and even that, like to have the access to a lift and specialized tools, like maybe like if you don't have a compressor or you don't have any air ratchets, stuff like that, to me it would be worth $50 or $60 and having to go out and buy the crap.
Yeah,
you know, sometimes the dealership, it's also the convenience of coming in and then leaving when you're ready to go and not having to either wait at the dealership. Waiting at a motorcycle dealership is way longer than a car dealership, and a lot of times
yeah,
they won't even let you. So
right. And I mean, car dealerships are so quick to like, they want your car gone, and motorcycle dealerships are all like, yeah, just come pick it up when you get a chance.
Right.
That was something that Jess was kind of surprised about. She's like, are they going to have a problem with the fact that you're going out of town? I was like, no, there's no way. They're not going to care.
Right.
And I even asked them just to be sure that something wasn't different about this place. You know, I was like, hey, I'm not going to come get it until like Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday next week. They're like, oh, we might not even have it done then. I was like, okay, cool. I'm not in a hurry. Just take your time, do what you need to do. Something that was nice about South Bay and was they have like a loading dock ramp kind of deal that you can just
What do you mean? Like,
you just back your truck up, and the bike. It was the difference in height between my tailgate and the height of this ramp was like 4 inches at best.
right.
So like when I went to pick the bike up, I just backed the truck up to it. They rolled the bike out of the garage and into my truck. We strapped it down and I left.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, they've got a really nice facility there. They've got a bunch of gear. It's a pretty good place to go at least look at bikes. Jess, when we dropped the bike off, Jess sat on what will probably be her first bike because she really wants a motorcycle.
What is she looking at?
Yamaha TW200.
I know you like that.
Yeah, I love that bike. She thinks it's great. And the thing weighs like under 300 pounds.
Can you get a demo on one?
I don't know. I could ask him.
That'd be cool. You know, speaking of small bikes, there was a guy here. You know, the smallest dirt bike I saw was a 250, and obviously I think I was on the biggest bike at a 1290. But there was a guy on a Honda Reflex scooter, a 250 Reflex, and he went through. The roll charts were like separated where there was some stuff that said gnarly section, which I didn't do. It was like mud. This guy went through everything. This was like battle scooter, you know, and it didn't even have knobbies on it. It had a car tire in the rear. But I'm like, dude, I got to give you a lot of props. That's badass. You're doing this cross Florida rally on a scooter. He's like, yeah, it is kind of cool. Apparently he's done a bunch of these things, but it was to do that. You know, obviously your center of gravity is a lot lower and you're closer to the ground. So even if you do dump it, you're just kind of like stepping off of it. It's not like you're standing on the pegs doing 40 and you're going to go over the handlebars.
Yeah. That's funny.
So can Jess get is there the possibility of having a demo ride on one of those?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask him. She doesn't have her license yet.
Right.
The plan is for her to go to one of the schools and get her you know, like spend the 2 days or whatever and go to the school and then get her license. And then we'll look around and try to find an old used TW. Because really, neither of us is worried. A lot of people, you know, when you're talking about first bikes, they're like, oh, something that's like sub 200 cc's or 250 cc's isn't really going to have any kind of longevity. You know, you're only going to ride it for a really brief period of time before you've kind of outgrown it.
I don't believe that to be true, really. Depending on what she's going to do with it, she just wants to have a round town fun bike.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's really a worry. Also, it's, you know, a little dual sport play bike. So the plan really is to just keep it, and then we'll just throw it in the back of the truck and take the kids camping and then ride around in the woods in it and screw around, you know, like, you know, I can understand the argument with like, maybe with like a 200 cc, like street bike. Like if you got like a Sim Wolf, it's like a 150, it maxes out at like 55 miles an hour. So if you want to get on the interstate here in California, you're going to need something bigger, period.
Right.
And so I can understand that argument from a street bike perspective or like a commuting or touring or whatever perspective. But I've wanted one as a little crappy play bike to go run into trees with like for years. So I'm not really worried about us not.
I'll tell you a story. I think I might have told you this story before. You know, the thing is, too, Jess is compact. So that bike's going to be fun for her. Yeah, for a long time. Years and years ago, I don't know if I told you this story or not. We were at the kids' baseball game, you know, and there was this couple that used to sit next to us all the time that we would hang out with. You know, they were kind of neat. The husband was an attorney, and they were, you know, without fail, they were at every one of the kids' baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there. I pull up one night. I was coming off of work, I think, or something, and my wife was already there. And I said, "Hey, where's your husband at?" And she's like, "Oh, he's getting his hog today." I'm like a motorcycle? She's like, yeah, he's getting a hog. And she kept saying a hog. I'm like, that's cool. You know, he's like, yeah, he's bringing it here.
You're like imagining this
big Harley, like full dresser. And so he comes walking up, you know, and he's got a jacket on and he's holding a helmet in his hand. And he sat down next to me and goes, yeah, bought my first bike. And I'm like, really cool. What'd you get? You know, and he goes, I got a Honda. Now I'm thinking, okay, you got a Shadow or, you know, something like that. And I go, what'd you get? He goes, it's over there in the parking lot. I turn around and I look, and there's a Rebel 250 sitting there.
Nice.
And I'm like, dude, don't let anybody break your chops about that. That's a great starter bike. And he looked at me and goes, starter bike? Like that. I go, yeah. I go, you're going to kind of get a little tired of that. He's like, man, that's all the bike I can handle. I said, give it a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
This was his first. You know what? That's fine for a first bike. You know, he was learning how to ride. I guess somebody smart at the dealership didn't talk him into some big, heavy bike.
Yeah, I
he
mean,
would have
it's a
been better
great.
off buying a used one, you know?
Yeah, for sure. That's what the tricky thing with the TWs is, like, yeah, they've been made since the 80s, but people are, to kind of use a phrase that Spencer has said, like, people are really proud of those things.
Right.
And like they don't want to let them go for anything kind of under like $3,000.
It's kind of a cult following, don't you think, for the TWs?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
That's like the guys that have their KLRs that are all dressed up. They're trying to get every dime out of every part that they put on the KLR.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the bike's like an 86 and it's rusting, you know, and but all their Tour Tech crap on there is high dollar.
No, they went with the Aerostitch stainless steel milk crate. That's what they did.
I love the stuff that Aerostitch has in the catalog. That's like, you know,
the joke products. Yeah.
But the funny thing is, you know, Dave's got in the Best Rest lineup. He's got a product that I thought was a joke. Was that the Adventure Mud? Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, they sell mud. They actually sell this in like a squeeze bottle that you can like put on your bike and on your gear. And it was, the funny thing about it is the video that for it on YouTube is hilarious because it shows a guy squeezing this little like 2-ounce bottle, you know, and then whoever's the guy that's getting the mud, somebody throws a bucket of mud.
Oh, nice. So like it looked the camera is a guy squeezing a little bottle, and then the other guy just bucket.
Like 5 gallons of mud on this guy.
Nice.
But I looked on there, and he'll either sell you the bottles empty or he'll sell them full.
That's funny.
You know, he's got a great sense of humor. Did you see the video
really
that I posted?
Yes.
On the air?
Yeah. He's all like, it's like, I love air. I probably started breathing it right after I was born, and I'm still breathing it today.
At the end of the video, when he wipes a tear from his eye, I think I spit like a whole mouthful of coffee on my keyboard. I was laughing so hard. It's just, and then he's out there in the woods with if you haven't seen this video, go to Best Rest Products YouTube page, and I think
or just check out our blog. Yeah, it's on our
blog. It's on our Facebook page too. But it says I Love Air, and it's really well done. So one of my friends posted that you should have got an Academy Award for the best short. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So I'd jump on a TW250 if you could find one.
Yep, that's the plan.
How much do they cost new?
Brand new, they're like $45. There's a 2015 at South Bay right now that's like $38. It's brand new. It's just a 2015.
What are they asking for used ones? Over $2,000?
Yeah, used ones, like they don't have any used ones there, but if you look on Craigslist, used ones like from like 2003, you know, a 13-year-old motorcycle, people want like $2,500.
That's crazy.
I'm like, I'll give you $10 a cc. I'll give you $2,000. But yeah, like I said, people are real proud of those things, and well, I'll find one. Hopefully, this year we'll sell the house, and probably not going to make much, but if we make $10,000 off that thing, we're buying a damn motorcycle.
Right.
Because I have to split my prop with.
I can tell you right now, she's probably going to get. She'll probably get to the point where she's going to want to get some sort of smaller displacement street bike too.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that. She also really wants to ride my motorcycle, the Bonneville, and so, but it just feels heavy to her right now. She's not, not comfortable with that sense of weight. And the TW seat height is exactly the same, pretty much. It just weighs like a half. of what my Bonneville weighs, and the handlebars are nice and wide and high. And so once she's pretty comfortable with that, she'll probably just start like stealing the Bonneville whenever she can. I mean, I'm going to commute on the TW most of the time, probably. So.
Well, you got like a 10-mile ride, right? If that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool bike. That going to this rally and seeing all these guys on smaller displacement dual sports really makes me want to get one. There was some really cool stuff out there too. There was a lot of KLRs, just pretty much KLXs. There was some Hondas, but it seemed to be like everything was in that 450 size. Some 690s, a lot of GSs. I was really surprised, but I'm watching these guys go through the woods on like KLX 300s or KTM. There was a guy that had like the 500 6-day. And they're just motoring right along, and it looked like a lot of fun. It was fun today on this big ass heavy bike. Matter of fact, I think I can show you the dirt on this thing. That was like from the water.
Did you get
crossing.
some adventure dirt?
I got adventure dirt and kind of sprayed it on there. The funny thing is, when I came back to the hotel last night with the just being in the sand, the guys were really ribbing me because they took like a gnarly section, and they were covered in mud. And they were like, "What, did you go get your bike washed this morning?" I'm like, "No, but there's like sand caked up everywhere on the thing." Yeah. So it's gonna need a good cleaning. But with a smaller bike, it would have been a lot more fun. The problem is those guys didn't ride there on the smaller bikes; they trailered them, which I really don't want to do that. I like riding there. Yeah, there's a lot of North Florida gross crap all over. Even I was looking even underneath the tag, somehow or another all this crap got.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I get dirt and sand and junk under the seat, like between the seat and like the little under fender thing, like up in there.
You actually ride your bike really off-road though too, where most people their bikes don't see the kind of stuff that your bike does.
Yeah.
It's mostly street riding on a Bonnie. You're actually taking that thing off-road.
Yeah, I did. I mean, it was like hard packed dirt.
Right.
It rained while I was doing that, which made me a little nervous.
Right.
But it was actually kind of funny. I remember when I took some of those pictures from, when I took that trip, and like I'm standing there, I pull over to the side of the road, and I'm getting ready to take a picture of like this beautiful scenic view that I've got. And right as I take the picture, it just starts pouring on me. I was like, oh crap, I gotta go. And I was like, I can't do this. But I mean, it was fine. I just ended up with mud and junk caked everywhere. I'm kind of sad now. Like I can't even really wash the bike much. Like I take it, there's a little, do it yourself with the little spray wand thing. There's one of those down the street, and I'll go do that every now and then. But like my stainless steel exhaust are getting kind of like pitted and like really gritty on the outside because I can't really do anything about it. And Jess was like, well, you just got the bike back from the shop. You could, is there anybody that like details motorcycles? I was like, I don't want to pay anybody else to do anything to my motorcycle.
Do that yourself. I mean, that's a good afternoon of like playing around with all the stuff.
Yeah, I got to do it somewhere other than here because I can't do it in the parking lot here.
I'll send you, we've got that contest running on Instagram right now, which I didn't talk about the last show. And I'm going to actually pick a winner this week and send the stuff off.
Yeah.
But I'll send you some stuff. Greg from Starbright was kind enough to donate like 3 cases of stuff for the vintage iron for the Iron and Clematis show that we raffled off.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Kept some product. We're going to use some. We've got a contest running right now on Instagram, and I'll send you some of it. But it's a Starbright cleaner, and there's the bike guard. It's kind of like a spray, but it's got a Teflon in it.
Wait, is that the white spray bottle? It says like S100 or something?
No, that's not Starbright. That's a different company.
Oh, okay.
Starbright started in the boat business, but one of the owners, Greg's an ADV rider, and he was there this weekend at the rally. He was at the Polar Bear rally too.
So
because I see Startron at like every motorcycle dealership.
Yeah, that's their product too. The two separate companies, Starbright and Startron. But he sent us a bunch of Startron. He sent us some of the bike cleaner and the bike protectant. I think the bike protectant, it says PTFT, so that's probably the Teflon in there as well. And you know, they make good products. They make a lot of cleaning products too. And I was surprised when I had asked him at Polar Bear to send me stuff for the Vintage Iron show. I thought he was just going to send me like gift certificates, but he sent 3 big boxes showed up at the house with product in them, which was kind of
Nice.
neat. Yeah.
How'd
So,
the Vintage Iron Club, how'd that go? How'd the show go?
It was really good. I think we raised a lot of money for the charity. The charity is the Paley Foundation, which is a limb lengthening doctor for kids. So kids that are born with deformities or have accidents where they've got limbs that are unnaturally short, you know, they can't walk, they're confined to wheelchairs, they actually do limb lengthening.
Oh,
And there were some kids there that were, you know, past candidates of this and are walking now from that.
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool charity. I was really glad to be involved. I emceed the show for the club, which was a lot of fun. I think we got probably 8,000 people again.
Nice.
That came through. Had the Globe of Death again with the Urias family. They were really neat. I didn't get to see one of their shows, which was a drag, just because we spent so much time on stage. Had some cool bands. There were a lot of cool bikes there. You know, as usual, the people kind of come out in droves for that show now. The word kind of got around, but it was a lot of fun, yeah.
I need to find like a...
Hold on.
I hear somebody starting up their vehicle.
It's Bike Week here in Florida right now, so...
Yeah. I need to find like a regular motorcycle meetup here in San Diego to kind of like get sort of plugged into everything. I mean, you know, I've been to what the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, and then like Mods versus Rockers is here. It rained the whole weekend.
No, that's a drag.
Yeah. And then
that was the same weekend I went to the Dania Beach show.
Yeah. And so like I need to like now that I've kind of gotten some things settled out, you know, life wise, I need to like find a regular meetup so that I, you know, like once a month or so, just get out and like ride with some people, meet some people, and then figure out what the hell's going on around here.
Yeah, because I know San Diego's got a big motorcycling scene. I saw it.
Yeah, they do
out there.
Yeah.
There's probably a pretty decent cafe scene too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I see little like cafe bikes all over the place.
You got to get in a club, you know, that way you're really connected in. You know, that's one thing about this whole thing with Vintage Iron Club started because I was bitching about there not being a cafe scene here, and then, you know, it kind of opened my eyes to the fact that there's a lot of, you know, well, this weekend during Bike Week, the Japanese Vintage Motorcycle Club is having their big show in Eustis, Florida. As a matter of fact, that phone call that I got when we were talking was from one of the guys that's at the show, and I may ride over there. I'm in Gainesville right now, so I may ride over there for that, take a look and see what they have. I was going to try to ride back into Daytona probably tomorrow on the way home, too.
Cool.
I rode through there to go up to St. Augustine Friday, and man, it was crowded. That place gets just absolutely insane during Bike Week, But
so busy.
Yeah, and you know, even in St. Augustine, which is like an hour north, there was a lot of stuff set up for Bike Week. And we went across the state into Palatka, there was a lot of bikes. So, you know, once we were like mostly off-road, obviously we're not seeing anything but us and dual sports off there. But every time we would like pop out on the highway to make a transition to another off-road, there'd be a group of Harleys running by, you know?
Yeah.
So at least these guys are riding. You know, they're coming to Bike Week and they're riding all around northern part of Florida, which is kind of neat.
When I was on that truck trail, there was a family of ATVers, and made me jealous. And then the whole way, you know, like to and from where the trails and stuff were, there were, you know, guys riding by on dirt bikes and stuff, and it brought up the question. Jess was like, "So can we fit 2 motorcycles in the back of your truck? You know, like 2 dirt bikes, so that we can come up there and like, because her cousin has a cabin up there, so it's not." There's no cost other than
probably-
gas to
You
get
could
up there.
fit 2 in the back of your bike, can't you? In the back of
Oh
your
yeah,
truck, man.
easy. Yeah, I mean, especially dirt bikes. Stick them side by side. I could probably fit 3. If you put the one in the middle facing backwards,
Right.
I could probably get 3 back there if I really tried.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna try to mount the bike. And I don't mean in that way, but
Yeah. Well, this is not. I wouldn't say this is a family show exactly, but kind of.
all right. So let's see what happens when. So there's my Prism. I'm
Yeah.
gonna turn the 20S on. See if it picks up automatically. Let's see what happens there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know because you're plugged in too. I don't know what's like got priority and whatnot within the iPhone. I'm pretty sure that once you unplug,
No, as soon as I turned it on and it went to Bluetooth, it flipped over.
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
This is kind of cool. Like, getting to you getting to use the various equipment to do the show.
Well, we talk. The thing is we talk about this stuff a lot, and
We do.
I know that we probably sound like we're a commercial for some of this stuff, but the truth is we use it, and my initial Sena stuff I bought to replace the Cardo Scalar rider that I had, and I don't know what Cardo's making nowadays as far as what their product is like. There are guys that love them and swear by them. There were a lot of guys that were on them, had them on the ride, but this has just worked flawlessly for such a long time.
Right. Yeah. I feel the same way. Like I bought my stuff originally to replace some kind of knockoff brand stuff that I had, and I've got no complaints about it. I mean, well, that's not really true. I do have some complaints. I always have complaints about everything, but overall, it's been really good. It's been a really high quality product, and yeah, maybe I sound like I'm shilling for them, but I feel almost like the hair club for men guy. It's like I'm not just the president. I'm a participant or whatever the heck he says.
No. And this, if it was another product that I like, and I've tried like 3 or 4 different comm systems, but the most time I have would be with Sena or the Cardo. I had Cardo Scalars for a really long time. I had 3 or 4 different sets for years, and it's just that the ergonomics of the Sena to me are better with the control wheel. I don't like I forgot on the Cardo, there's so many different buttons. I couldn't remember what was what on it, where this is a lot easier. And the sound clarity, since we got the 20Ss, it's just so much better. Like you said, you couldn't even tell that I was on a bike riding at 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, there was no wind noise. I've been able to hear the motorcycle a couple of times. That's it. Yeah.
And the really cool thing about these is they'll connect into any of the other systems.
Yeah, with their whole universal thing.
Yeah, we tried to do that today, but I didn't think to look in the app. There's actually a guide in the app that tells you how to do it. And one of the guys was like, "How do I connect mine into yours?" I'm like, I'd have to look it up when we were on a trail.
Yeah, the app has the user guide in it.
Yeah.
And basically all you have to do is you set yours to like universal, and they connect to you as if you were a mobile phone.
Really?
Like, yeah, at least that's what I remember. I could be wrong, but I seem to remember it saying like have them connect as if they were connecting to a phone, not to an intercom. Because I guess basically the Sena will just kind of like pretend to be a phone to other devices.
I'm curious to see something on here that if you hear me right now, right?
I do.
Can you see me right now?
Nope, got your sweet little pink Metal Flake helmet picture.
Okay, because I was just like checking a map to see what it would do.
Yeah, so it's kind of like when you're in FaceTime, it pauses the video, but the audio keeps going.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I really wanted to go over how it was with the Iron and Clematis show, which really turned out to be great. And, I keep saying this, but if you live in Florida or Georgia, you got to come next year. It's such a cool show. The pinup contest was a lot of fun. They gave away a bike that the club built. There was a lot of door prizes we gave away. You know, a lot of money was raised. It's a great time. It's only a one-day show, but you know, I posted a bunch of pictures on Instagram. It was a lot of fun. That CADS group, I gotta give a shout out to Jacksonville and North Florida Classic Adventure and Dual Sport. You know, what's really neat about these guys too is there's a lot of classic dirt bikes that ride in this as well. So, you know, for us, like in the vintage stuff and the cafe bikes, there's a lot of really neat older dirt bikes that were there. There was a guy on an R80 GS, the Paris to Dakar version. Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, these two big round headlights up front. It was really neat. You know, we've got coming up, you know, we're going to keep talking about the trip First Ride Up the Divide.
Yeah.
I'm going to be testing some product that we're going to be taking on that trip. Their Best Dress is sending me a bead breaker kit.
Cool.
So I can change these tires on the KTM and take the knobbies off and put the street tires back on. So I'll videotape that, and I'll be really honest about what I find on how that works out. You know, it's something I've been actually looking at tire changers, you know, from like Harbor Freight and a couple other companies that would sit in the garage, you know, like Nomar, for instance.
Yeah.
So I'm just
And those are expensive.
Yeah, the Nomars are like, they're definitely north of $600. They have one version that's like 11 or 1200.
Yeah.
But the Harbor Freight tire changers really are just kind of like a stand with a bead breaker on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. They're a couple $100, you know, and like anything that Harbor Freight sells, it's kind of I don't want to say cheap, but maybe a lower quality in design and construction. The Nomar stuff's certainly a lot nicer.
Yeah.
But if this works out with the bead breaker kit, I'll be happy and just use that.
Yeah, I've used mine to change tires once, and it was a learning curve. But once I learned how to use the product, I didn't have a problem with it.
You know, it seems like from watching all the videos, they use an extensive amount of that lubrication on the rim and on the bead. It seems to make it a lot easier. So did you find that to be true when you did it?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's really hard to go. It's hard to get. It's hard to have too much lube, really.
Oh boy, I'm not going to touch that one with a bead breaker. So, yeah, that's about it, man. I'm gonna actually hit the road and continue my trek of Florida.
All right.
And hopefully, I'll get that stuff soon, and we'll get those videos out. What else you got going on there? Anything? I mean, congratulations on getting married.
Thanks. So, you know, the other day we recorded, and I said that day, I said, hey, so in a couple of days we'll have stickers. It turns out they got delivered the day that we recorded. So I have stickers. I didn't do anything with them. I just left them here and, you know, got married and went on my honeymoon. So now that I'm back, Patreon supporters will be getting stickers sent out. Those of you that support at that level. In the next few weeks, I've got to make sure that I have everybody's address and all that sort of stuff. We'll be posting on Facebook and Instagram and all those places to, you know, let people see them. And once I make sure everybody's got stickers that's supposed to have stickers, put them up for sale. And Steve, I'll send you a bunch of them so you can give them out and stuff like that too. So
yeah, I've got some swag.
They look great.
Yeah, our new logo looks great.
Yeah.
Our new website looks great.
Yeah. Thanks to Chris and Sean and everybody that's helped out with that.
No, everything looks really phenomenal. I got a lot of compliments on the new website and the new logo. And
Jessica's going to be posting a blog here pretty soon about like sort of her experience getting on a motorcycle. Not for the first time ever, but for the first time regularly. And then sort of like how it sort of made her want to ride herself, and then, that sort of stuff. Also, I got approved, me and Jess both got approved to go to Overland Expo as press again. And so the plan is to go to Overland Expo in Arizona this year.
So hopefully you'll have the TW by then.
I doubt it.
You don't think by then?
No, probably not. The plan is we're going to take a little camper in the Tacoma and
That'd be cool. Yeah.
take the truck out there.
Oh, speaking of campers, I've talked about my wife and her little vintage camper that she's got.
Yeah,
You saw it at the house, right?
I did. Yeah.
Thing? Yeah. So, her Honda Element won't pull it. And she's been reminding me that a lot, that the Element won't pull it. The Element, surprisingly, for such a supposedly, lifestyle off-road type vehicle, it's got zero towing capacity, like 1,000 pounds.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. So, I've been telling her, take my truck. Well, I know my wife really well, and she kept looking at Craigslist ads and would send me pictures of like trucks, and she was telling me, oh, Jeep's coming back out with the Wagoneer. Wouldn't that be cool? So I know where this is going, right? Plus, her truck the Element's paid off, which I like not having a car payment. Well, she sends me this ad a couple weeks ago from Craigslist, and it's got her like caption is this a scam? ? And I look at this ad, and it's a 72 Ford F-250 that, honest to God, Chris, looks like it rolled off the showroom floor. And it was in Stuart, Florida, which is just north of us. So I'm like, I don't know, who would like scam something like that that's local,
Yeah.
So I'm like, why don't you make an appointment to go see it? So it took a week to hook up with this guy. We went and saw it, and when he rolled it out of the garage, I'm thinking, well, those pictures are probably, photoshopped or old. Yeah. This thing rolls out of the garage like it had a halo around it. Like, whoa,
That's funny.
We bought it. We ended up
nice. Congratulations.
It's a 72. I'll send you some pictures of 72 F-250, what they call a camper special. It was designed back in the day for, a slide-on camper.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of heavy-duty suspension. It was kind of wired for the camper top. It's a, no air conditioning, no power steering. It's a 390 360, so 390 block with a 360 motor. And man, it is gorgeous. This guy, young guy, and the cool thing was is when he opened the garage door, what do you think was parked behind the truck but a little cafe bike that he's building?
Nice.
Yeah, really neat little bike. I took a couple pictures of it, and he's, looking at the cafe bike and looking what the detail he's got on it and how nice, I started realizing, well, that's what went into this truck. So I brought a creeper with me and a flashlight, went underneath, looked at it. Man, it was just really, really beautiful. And so she's got herself it's big.
I was going to say, that thing's pretty big.
Yeah, it's an 8-foot bed. And I'll send you some pictures of it. It's pretty neat. But anyway, man, that's all I got.
You could set the Element in the back of that thing and have room to spare.
Well, here's the funny thing is, Lisa doesn't know, like, what it takes to get a bike in the back of a truck. Like we were talking about how the dealership's got that loading ramp, right?
Yeah.
So she tells me this weekend, she goes, well, I'm going to take the bike up to see my grandmother, or the truck up to see my grandmother in Orlando. Why don't we just put it in the back of the truck and then we'll drive home together? I'm like, that's a 600-pound motorcycle. How do you think I'm going to get it in the back of the truck? She says, well, bring the ramp for the ATV, for our ATV trail. I go, that ramp's like 4 feet long. It's like a tiny little.
It's going to be at like a 45-degree angle.
Yeah. And then she's like, well, don't you just ride up the ramp on the bed of the truck? I'm like, no, it's not what happens.
That's dangerous.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm not putting this big giant bike in the back of that. Even though the truck would easily hold it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
put
have
the tailgate up.
Yeah. No, not going to happen. But
all right, well, get back on the road. Go have some more fun.
Now, man. All right, man. We will talk.
Yeah, so everybody can follow us in the usual ways: CafeRacerPodcast.com, Facebook.com/CafeRacerPodcast, Cafe Racer Podcast on Instagram, and Cafe Racer Pod on Twitter. Patreon supporters, you'll be getting stickers soon. And if you want to support us on Patreon, just go to patreon.com and look for us on there. Look for Chris Ashmore or Crash or Cafe Racer Podcast. Any of those will find the show.
We appreciate every dollar that you give us, believe me.
Yeah, it definitely goes to making the show possible.
That's all I got.
All right, get out there and ride.
I'm going.